It made a warm, bright flame like a little candle as she held her hands over it. But it gave a strange light. It really seemed to the little girl as if she were sitting before a great iron stove with shining brass knobs and a brass cover. How wonderfully the fire burned! How comfortable it was! The youngster stretched out her feet to warm them. Then the flame went out. The stove vanished, and she had only the remains of the burnt match in her hands. It burned brightly, and when the light fell upon the wall, it became transparent like a thin veil, and she could see through it into a room. On the table, a snow-white cloth was spread, and on it, a shining dinner service. The roast goose steamed gloriously, stuffed with apples and prunes. Then the match went out, and she could see only the thick, cold wall. She lighted another match. Then she was sitting under the most beautiful Christmas tree. Thousands of candles burned on the green branches, and colored pictures, like those in the print shops, looked down at her. The little girl reached out her hands towards them. Then the match went out, but the candles mounted higher. She could see them now as bright as the stars in the sky. One of them fell down, forming a long line of fire. Her old grandmother, the only person who had loved her and who is now dead, had told her that when a star fell down, a soul went up to God. She rubbed another match against the wall. It became bright again, and in the glow, the old grandmother stood clear and shining, bright and lovely. She quickly struck the whole bundle of matches, and they burned with such a glow that it became brighter than day. Grandmother took the little girl in her arms, and both of them flew in brightness in joy above the earth, very, very high. And up there was neither cold nor hunger nor fear. They were with God. But in the corner, leaning against the wall, sat the little girl with red cheeks and smiling mouth, frozen to death, holding a bundle of burned matches. She just wanted to warm herself, people said. No one imagined what